Hello and welcome to your channel, Clear Waters. Welcome in this beautiful Friday night. And today's Friday? Yes, today's Friday. Sometimes because of work, I miss my days a little bit. But tonight, we're gonna be talking about what causes division between atheists and believers in God. Atheists, agnostics, unbelievers in general, and believers in God or any other invisible being. This is gonna get, in my point of view, not because I made this presentation with the assistance of one AI flop, but I really look forward for the message of this live stream and this presentation that I'm going to do to reach its goal, which is your mind, your heart. Yes. What's going on here between believers and unbelievers? There's a lot of hostility, really bad debates, not really conversations. So what's going on? Are those pesky believers full of the devil? Are they crazy? I don't know, they have suicidal tendencies? They're not afraid of God? Or what's going on with believers? They believe in invisible beings? What's going on? We'll find out here in a minute. If you don't agree with what I'm going to say next in this presentation, this is the reason why I'm doing live streams, because you can tell me, Javier, you're wrong because this, and that. Or you can tell me, Javier, you're wrong because you wear ugly glasses. And I'm going to tell you, okay. No value in that conversation. So, what causes division between atheists and believers in God? Remember, I put that as a title, but I'm talking about atheists, unbelievers, agnostics, anybody that doesn't believe in an invisible being. And believers, I'm referring to most believers, not all of them, most believers in an invisible being. Yesterday, if you don't know what I'm talking about, invisible beings, you can watch my video from yesterday, which I explained some of these invisible entities. God is not the only one. There are many invisible beings. So, thank you for whoever is watching right now. I give you the credit and I'm not going to make you wait like before, waiting 20 minutes for other people to join. No, this presentation is for you. Thank you for being here early. So let's jump to this presentation. But Javier, wait for until more people arrive. No, they're gonna watch it later. I think that the people that join early the live stream deserve the respect. The real Indiana Cones Brew, thank you for joining the live stream. Logical, rational thinking dividers. We'll find out here in a minute. All right, so let me show my other AI flop. I like saying that. You know, I am not gonna give me the credit for doing this presentation if it wasn't because some of these AIs tools, I would not be able to make these presentations, because thanks to AI, I can make a presentation in 10-15 minutes, or sometimes I have more time, like 2 or 3 hours when I'm not full of work doing other things. So I have to thank AI. Oh, let me fix my my pretty little face on the vertical stream. I'm streaming on both horizontal and vertical streams just in case. So let's go to scene number 1. Let's lower the volume so I can concentrate a little bit. The problem what is the problem? Much of the division between atheists and believers begins when a belief is presented as a fact rather than as a belief. If you don't mind, I'm gonna do a pause here. Let that sink in a little bit. The problem, much of the division between atheists and believers begins when a belief is presented as a fact rather than as a belief. Let's continue. Remember, this is going to be recorded. You can go back to it later, review it, analyze it. So let's look at the atheists, those pesky atheists. What does the atheist claim? What does the unbeliever, agnostic, atheist claims? This is what the atheist claimed. Nothing. The unbeliever atheist is claiming, hey, I have many fish. Someone that doesn't believe is not making any claims. It's not telling you about your belief, about their beliefs. No claims. This is one thing that, I don't know, some people don't understand, and I'm respectfully, step by step, explaining it to you. There's going to be some exceptions to this. Some atheists are going to go, which I don't call atheists, or I don't know, maybe someone that is trying to achieve another goal. No, there's no God. There's no God. There's no. No. I'm talking about most atheists, not all of them. There are some crazy ones, okay? But most atheists don't claim anything. If they're going to claim something, probably they're going to claim, hey, I have many fish. Whatever that means. So, now we understand what most atheists are claiming. Remember, I used the word most. So, what does the believer claim? God is real. Jesus is King. The Holy Spirit is real. Jesus is coming. Hell is real. All kinds of claims. Most believers. Unbelievers, just they keep it to themselves. So, this is a humongous claim. God is real. Yep. I think by now you know where this is going. So this is how normally the conversation goes. That creates division. Conversation that creates division. The atheist says, so that's what you believe? The believer responds, no, God is real. This is what most believers will say. Not only that, but lots and lots of believers are gonna take it farther than that. And they're gonna say things like, no, God is real. Let's make sure everybody knows and accepts it. Let's build churches, teach it to kids and in schools, preach it everywhere, and bring it into government. Wow. So this went from a belief to a fact to a truth, and to throw it on people's faces and force them to look at it and accept it. Oh, wow. This next scene is how a conversation without division will go. Believer says, I believe God is real. The atheist responds, okay. That's it? Yes, okay. No problem. However, there's going to be a lot of atheists that probably will be interested in engaging in a conversation with you as a believer, and probably they will ask things like, okay, why do you believe that? Conversation without division. Nobody's telling the believer, you're wrong, you're lying, you're making stuff. No. You're being honest and transparent. I believe God is real. Man, anybody will respect that. Atheists, okay, why do you believe that? If you don't mind my asking. Engage in a conversation. So, my message to you, atheist and believer. The division is not really caused only by the question of whether God exists, whether there is evidence, or whether God can be proven. A big part of the division comes from a communication problem. The difference between saying, I believe God is real, and saying, God is real. Sometimes this happens because people don't recognize the difference between a belief and a fact. Other times, people might represent beliefs as facts because it gives their belief more authority and certainty. People can disagree respectfully when beliefs are presented as beliefs rather than established facts. Acknowledging something as a belief doesn't end the discussion. It shifts it toward a conversation about reasons rather than immediate dispute over whether the claim must be accepted as a fact. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is my message to you as an unbeliever or believer. This is a problem of communications. A belief is not a fact, much less a truth. Truth, it might be your truth. It's not the truth. It's your belief. I've been saying this since day one. I've been doing this live stream. It's just the first time I put it together and try to explain it to you. The division and the conflict is not really coming from the God. It's really coming from the improper use of language and communication. Now, are you doing this innocently by accident, or are you doing it on purpose? No, I think that the only person that can answer that question is yourself. That is my presentation about what causes division between atheists and believers in God. If you have any questions, you want to engage in a conversation about this topic, you're more than welcome to call me at the Discord link at the bottom of the screen, or let me know your thoughts your views on the chats. If you're planning on calling me to insult me because I'm asking questions, because I'm trying to clarify things, save your saliva and keep it to yourself. Not interested. I don't like to waste my time trying to make you feel good. Sometimes I do it, but sometimes I don't. This is one of those times that I have no patience for anybody coming and complaining because, I don't know, my glasses or my headsets are too big. Just trying to discredit the host, make him feel bad. Maybe he stopped making videos in a very childish way. Or I think that by clarifying this division that is going on right now between us human beings, I think it will be better for yourself as an individual, for your family, for your country, and for this humanity to engage in fruitful conversation and just not vent your feelings and emotions and frustrations on other people. Not nice. Not gonna get us into anything good in life. Now, let's open the lines. And let's look at the chat. I'm gonna be cycling through this presentation for people that join late. They can see what's going on, or you can move back, scroll on the video and watch this presentation and then join us live so you can ask me any questions or let me know about what you think about this presentation and what I'm trying to communicate here. Oh, thank you so much for being here and listening. I appreciate it. I am here for main reason to make money. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I don't like lying. But I want to do it by providing something of value. If you think there's something of value in this channel or in these presentations or these conversations, yes, you're more than welcome to subscribe to the channel. If you want to leave a like, if you want to share the video with someone else, maybe send it to a friend. Hey, is this stinky guy, Stinky Clear Waters, doing videos? What do you think about this video? How about we join next time and give him a call and talk to him, see what's going on? Maybe we can tell him about his glasses. I don't know. Oh, a little bit hot here. What's going on? Now let's look at the chats. And if anybody wants to call, the Discord line is open. So David Martinez, true, non-belief isn't a claim. A good different way to put it. Yes, you're right. Doc McNorris, Clearwaters, in heaven you get to print your own money with your own head on the coins and Jesus on the other side. How about that? Chuck McNorris. Man, I know that Fridays, normally, I know that it's not many people join. I think people are going out maybe to have dinner or something, and people start joining late. But, you know, for people that arrive early to the live streams, I like to start my presentations early to give you the respect that you deserve for arriving early to the live stream. Some people have said, hey, Javier, I recommend to you to, you know, wait until more people join. No. If there's 0 people on the live stream, I'm still going to do and start the presentation and then put out the shorts that you see every day, almost every day, me putting out 1 to at the most 4 shorts every day to remind you, hey, there's Stinky Waters. Trying to do something to make this world a better place to live for ourselves and for our children. I don't know about you, but I think that sounds like an important goal, not for me only, but for everybody that is interested in having a better life. Try to enjoy your life. I am 54 years old. I'm an expert. I'm an expert in making mistakes and being wrong. I have started many businesses, all of them, well, almost all of them, failures. And I'm still working in some businesses right now, but with a different mindset. Out of Babylon, at least you are honest. What causes division between atheists and Christians is lack of love. I don't know, out of Babylon, if you saw the presentation. I think if you haven't seen it, maybe go back. Anyways, I'm going to be flipping through the presentation as we move forward on the live stream. In case you don't know, I do live streams both on horizontal and vertical. And normally I do live streams of at least 1 hour or at the most now 3 hours. I used to do 4, 5, and almost 6 hours at nighttime. It was not working well, so at the most 3 hours. I think that's good enough, at least for myself. I can communicate my message. I can have conversations with you. 3 hours is good enough. So if you have any questions about this presentation that I just made, about what causes division between atheists and believers in God, you can ask your questions or leave your comments on the chat, or you can do it through the Discord, or in the Discord link on the screen, and the link is also on the chats. I noticed that people ask me when I put out my shorts every day, like, how do you call in? I give them the, invite people to the live streams, and then nobody calls. I don't know, probably they hear me and they go like, well, this guy has a strong accent. I don't know if I want to call. Or some people, I don't know, some people are afraid of calling like live. Some people get really nervous. One thing that I share with you is that I'm aware of people's anxiety when they want to call in and have a conversation. Just try to be as honest as possible, try not to be rude, try to treat the host the way you want to be treated, and everything is going to go just fine. I prefer to engage in conversations instead of trying to push whatever I'm trying to sell, which right now I'm not selling anything. Well, I'm selling shirts, in case anybody wants to buy any of these shorts and coffee mugs that I was suggested to do. Nicholas Holier going, Nick, it boils down to simply believing. That's the difference between us. What do you mean by that exactly, Nicholas? I like to understand viewers' messages. It boils down to simply believing. So you're saying that believers in God, they're doing believing, right? But it doesn't come out that way. When someone says God is real, yeah, I don't think that's just believing. So I'm going to be flipping through the scenes or slides from the presentation. You're going to see them on the screen. If you want to see the whole full presentation, just move the scroll of the video back to the beginning. And you're going to see and hear all the details about the presentation. If not, I'm going to be flipping through the scenes and or slides during the live stream. Out of Babylon writes, again, if we could freely live and move around this earth as we please, this show works not exist. No argument between two would happen because both would need living their own free lives. Babylon, someone could tell you that you are fantasizing. This world could be beautiful. Everybody moving around and, smelling the flowers. There's a reality in between where we are right now and that fantasy, or which life, probably, I don't know, in 1 year or 100 years. I think it's more fruitful to talk about how to get there with something that can be used, something that is practical, and not just be romantic about how we should be living life. Nicholas Holier, it boils down to simply, okay, I just read that message. And I was asking Nicholas Holier if he can expand on that a little bit more, because believers not only say what they believe, they express things that as if they were facts. God is real. Jesus is real. Jesus is king. Hell exists. Heaven exists. The Holy Spirit is real. Sounds to me that you're expressing things as facts. And especially when people, believers, say, no, Javier, the truth. Ugh. Just in case you're planning on commenting on this live stream on the chat or calling in, please do yourself a favor. If you haven't seen the presentation, go back to the beginning and watch it, because, you know, some people ask me stuff. I'm like, man, did you watch the presentation? No. No wonder you're asking me that or telling me that. Anyways, I'll be flipping through the scenes of the presentation. Out of Babylon writes, but because we bite and devour one another, the primary reason for the show is to get money. Therefore, the truth is not important. It doesn't sell. Out of Babylon, I'm not willing to lie for anybody, not even yourself. I started doing these videos for money. I'm not willing to lie to anybody. I'm not one of those people involved in God businesses, selling gods and selling salvation, and they say they're doing it to save people. No, that's a huge lie. I'm here to make money and to provide something of value. What started about something to make money has shifted a little bit, because I'm starting to see the importance of these messages. I think there's value in value. Right now, it doesn't matter if I make money. I'm still doing these live streams and putting out these presentations and asking questions and engaging in conversations with you. Spider-Man, you'll be watching my shorts. I see you. Spider-Man, welcome to the live stream. Atheists need to go ahead and live their life, not try and tell a Christian how God doesn't exist. Why talk about a God you don't believe? Spider-Man, you sound like you have not seen the presentation. Please go back, do yourself a favor and go back, watch the presentation. You're like talking about, I don't know, maybe you got confused about live streams. Someone else talking about something and you're like, I'm confused. I wish I could engage in a conversation with you, Spider-Man, but you don't provide anything that attracts my attention as a valuable conversation. No. Seems to me you're upset because other people don't believe what you believe. Doc McNorris, Clearwaters, my blood truly is the drink. Jesus, John. That's what Jesus said. Nicholas Holier, this is my body, this is my blood. Nicholas Holier at Spider-Man, because they are either unhappy or truly don't understand. Who's they? Nicholas Holier. Unbelievers or believers in invisible beings? Some of these messages that you guys send, I like to read them all and respond to them all, especially if someone is asking me something. But some of these messages lack some pieces of information, so I don't know what exactly you're talking about. For example, Nicholas Holier says to Spider-Man, because they are They're either unhappy or truly don't understand. Are you really talking about atheists? Or are you talking about believers? Because that doesn't sound what I just presented in this live stream. Oh man, I'm getting a headache. Ugh. Oh man, wow. Wow. I'm amazed. Out of Babylon, once we realize that it's us who made this world ugly, I have faith that we will make it good again. But money must fall first because the average man comes to this conclusion. Again, out of Babylon, they're putting that goal way too high and way too far away out without providing any information on how to do that and achieve that. Spider-Man, I agree, Nicholas. I don't know what you guys are agreeing about. I have no idea what you guys are talking about. I'm sorry. It sounds like secret code between believers in invisible beings. Give yourself a pat in the back when you say something that makes you feel good. I don't know. Nothing that I can engage in a conversation. You know, feeling bad because someone doesn't believe what you believe, I think is very telling about what's going on here. Now, I made a presentation about what causes division between atheists and believers in God. And so far, no believers have mentioned anything about the presentation. They're just venting their frustrations, their emotions, you know, trying to say things, make themselves feel good about their beliefs. I know that not all believers are like, you know, the believers that are watching right now. There's believers that can process information. They can engage in conversations. Some of these believers right now, I don't expect to have a conversation with anybody as a believer in the live stream right now. Out of Babylon, a person is smart. People are dumb, panicky, dangerous animals, and you know it. I don't know what's going on. I don't understand some of these messages. They're coded messages. Chuck McNorris, Clearwaters, I like this translation. Branding of the words. My blood is the real drink. And where do you get that translation from? Sounds weird. All right, Professor Hazel. Welcome. Professor Hazel, I made a presentation about what causes division between atheists and believers in God. So far, I have no questions whatsoever from any believers in invisible beings. Just complaints. Atheist 2. Or second, I personally find the Bible disgusting. How can an omniscience carcass that wants of nothing need us to kneel down and pray to him? This is ridiculous. Atheist, it sounds to me probably you have not seen the presentation. I would recommend if you go back, scroll back on the video, the presentation is just like 5 minutes. Go watch it and then probably you know what the topic of this live stream is. And we have more of a chance to engage in a fruitful conversation and not do the same thing that some believers are doing right now on the live stream, just vent their emotions, complain because other people don't believe what they believe. Let's not do the same thing. Chuck McNorris, Clearwaters, that was good news translation. Oh, translation sounds weird. I wonder what Diva's translation would say. Something in favor of the God of the Bible, most likely. So if you, in case you missed the presentation at the beginning, which I do almost immediately after I connect, because some viewers connect right away after I connect. So out of respect to them, I start my presentations now, right at the beginning. So the presentation was like 5 minutes long about what causes division between atheists and believers in God. If you want, go watch it. Just scroll back on the video. And then once you're done, just go back to the live part. And then you will know and understand what we're talking about here. Skeptic philosophy. What you sinners up to? Chuck McNorris Diva New International Bible. Oh man, that Bible will be really, really edited. Change. TP Seeker. Honestly, I don't give a rat's ass about beliefs people have or don't have. I'm more interested in the person. All right, skeptic philosophy. Evil words with demons in them. TP Seeker. So go back to the start. Yes, if you want to see the presentation, it's just like 5 minutes long. It's at the beginning. Yes, probably a minute 5 or something like that, or minute 4. That way you know exactly what I think is causing division. And as a believer or unbeliever, you can ask me questions. You can give me your views, your opinions. And I'm flipping through the scenes and or slides of the presentation right now. I think the first slide is the problem. Much of the division between atheists and believers begins when a belief is presented as a fact rather than as a belief. Oopsie doopsie is out. It's out on the internet for everybody to watch and read and hear. Yeah, that is the problem, or part of the problem. Jamie, the cause of division is because what people choose to believe. Okay, Jamie, that's your view or your opinion. Doesn't sound like what I presented on the presentation. I showed the presentation at the beginning. My second slide was, what does the atheist claim? What does the unbeliever, agnostic, atheist claim? Boom. Nothing. Unbelievers, agnostics, atheists are not claiming anything. Maybe an atheist claims that he has many fish. Whatever that means. But let's find out, what does the believer claim? The believer claims God is real. Jesus is King. The Holy Spirit is real. Hell is real. Heaven is real. Demons are real. Angels are real. That's what most believers claim. So, just flipping through this, scenes or slides, the conversation that creates division goes like this. Atheist says, so that's what you believe? The believer responds, no. God is real. Not only that, most believers will take it way far out and they will continue saying, no, God is real. Let's make sure everybody knows and accept it. Let's build churches, teach it to kids and in schools, preach it everywhere, and bring it into government. Wow. So, going from a belief to a fact, to a truth, and to take it to everybody's face it so they can know it and accept it. Yep, that's what the most believers are going to do from any of these religions, mainly from Christianity, Islam, and some of these main doctrines that teach about invisible beings. Now, I show you a conversation without division, how it should sound. Believer says, I believe God is real. The atheist responds, okay. No division, no conflict. Everybody's happy. Just because the believer is honest, transparent, and accurate in his description about what he's feeling. He believes God is real. Who is going to tell you you're lying, you're wrong? Nobody. Some atheists that like to engage in conversations probably will go and say, why do you believe in that? If you don't mind my asking. If you get bothered by the question, then the atheists say, okay, never mind. No conflict, no division. Yeah, Jamie, God is real. Wow. So for my presentation that I did at the beginning, and this is my message today for you, believer and atheist, the division is not really caused only by the question of whether God exists, whether there is evidence, or whether God can be proven. A big part of the division comes from a communication problem. The difference between saying, I believe God is real, and saying, God is real. Sometimes this happens because people don't recognize the difference between a belief and a fact. Other times, people might present beliefs as facts because it gives their belief more authority and certainty. And people can disagree respectfully when beliefs are presented as beliefs rather than established facts. Acknowledging something as belief doesn't end the discussion. It shifts it towards a conversation about reasons rather than an immediate dispute over whether the claim must be accepted as a fact. I'm describing this like clearly, presented, put it into clear words. The first thing that a believer in one of these invisible God does, right? God is real. Yep. I know. It's unbelievable. Some people in this world act in these ways. Very sadly, I don't think either you or me are going to convince everybody to use their head. Nope. Jamie, you're right, but it is a fact. What facts are there to prove that God is not real? Jamie, sorry, man, sorry. Like some believers tell me, Jamie, I'm sorry for whoever hurt you, my friend. I'm sorry. I know what some of you are thinking. When I say some of you, I'm referring to people that use their head. It's not just an ornament on top of your shoulders. I know what you possibly might be thinking. Javier, I think that by your presentation and my own conclusions, I think that one of these sides is creating the problem. Yep. But the other side contributes to it also. PP Seeker, judging others causes division. When we go out into society, does it matter what beliefs or lacks of belief other people have or don't? What happened to getting to know the person's name? PP Seeker, thank you for your comment. It seems to me that whoever doesn't believe in an invisible being is more willing to engage in a conversation about anything in this life but an invisible being. It seems to me also that someone that believes in one of these invisible beings and they think that it's real or believe that it's real is less possible that would like to engage in a conversation. Probably they want to get you and force you to believe what they believe. And if you don't believe what they believe, they're going to get upset. Because you're not validating their belief. Out of Babylon, belief has nothing to do with division. I don't know who said that. I don't know who said that, so I don't think you're referring to me. I believe ham sandwiches is very tasty. You believe that they are not. The problem is not about what we believe to be good. I'm not saying that out of Babylon, but I see a problem with your example, because if you want to make everybody eat ham sandwiches, yeah, that's a problem. And that will cause division. PP Seeker is asking Jamie, which God? Yeah, Jamie, which God are you referring to? Which invisible entity are you referring to? Jamie writes, it's okay, brother, I'm not hurt. I'm just defending my Lord, and he's doing in heaven for me and you as well. Thank you, Jamie, so much for sharing what you believe is true. Of course, I don't believe in your belief, but thank you so much for expressing what you believe, Jamie. Yahweh is God. There's only one true God. Jamie, you know, like I said to some people yesterday and explained it to some people, now you're getting into lying. There is only one true God. You are lying. I'm telling it to your face, and if you call in, I'll tell it to you in voice. Enough with the lying. If you are not lying, then shut me up and prove it that you're not lying. You know, I make a presentation to be respectful, to try to make things clear between believers and not believer. And you're gonna do the exact thing that I'm telling people, hey, how about we have conversations? I think that you're being hurt by someone. I'm telling you that because believers tell me that all the time. I'm just using back to you what believers tell me. But, you know, probably, I don't know, find some help. Maybe get someone to help you to get out of this doctrine, this cult that you're involved in. Because right now, probably you believe in spirits and demons and sacrifices. And lying around to the public. What a shame. Probably, Jamie, you're a good person. Acting like someone that is cuckoo in the head. What happened? What broke? The great Robert, Skeptic Philosophy is on the Discord. Hello, Robert.
Hey, man, how's it going?
Good. Honestly.
Yeah. This is an interesting subject right here. What causes division between the two? It's weird because there's like a lot of different categories. It's not just like the processing of how to come to conclusions. It's like the internal motivations. We do these things all the time when we argue from bottom up versus top down, when we're like trying to come to a conclusion. So if somebody makes a proposition and says, like if I have a cup on my counter and I say, how did this cup get here? If I go backwards through, well, it was at this place and then it was that place, and then I track it all the way back to like where the cup's metal came from, for example. That's a direction of starting at this location where we're at now in time and then trying to track it backwards. But many people will start with a proposition, like they'll start with God. Everything had to come from a singular source, and that they know what that source is, and then they'll act like they can connect that. So starting not from where we're at presently, but starting from the very beginning, and then act like they can connect it back this way. And these are two. This is what is it called? Top down versus bottom up kind of thinking. And we have two different like models of conclusion even. So it's not just like the methods. It's the whole form of conclusion is different, I would say, in general. And in addition to that, maybe our emotional motivations are different.
You know, Robert, yesterday, after almost at the end of the live stream, I had a quite interesting conversation with Phantom X. I mean, the music was over. It was 3 hours, and we expanded it like, I don't know, like 15 more minutes, having a conversation. Because Phantom we were talking about me telling some believers that they are lying. He was like, in a way, trying to respectfully ask me like, why am I doing that? And this is a good example of what is happening today with the live stream. I'm trying to, I take the time to put it in a way that opens up conversation, you know, to ask questions, to, hey, and let's engage in some fruitful conversation and see if there's something behind this presentation that I made, that there's a possibility that we're just using communications in the wrong way. Maybe we are a little bit confused, and we're confusing a belief with a fact, you know, and trying to get into the conversation. The first thing that a believer says on the chat is God is real. So I told Phantom yesterday, Phantom, I appreciate you and Robert because you guys approach this problematic of believing in God in a very respectful, knowledgeable, very patient way. I don't approach it like that. Yeah. I think I push people's buttons. I question very, a little bit aggressively, their beliefs and stuff like that. And that's why I tell, for example, in the case of Jamie, I'm calling him, he's telling a lie right now, and encourage him to tell me, you know, to shut me down and make me apologize by proving that he's not lying. Of course, he's not a do it. So I think that there's going to be a group of believers that are doing this intentionally. It's not out of innocence. It's not out of the, like, they're confused. No, I think they're doing it on purpose, and they're just trying to, some troll, some are, I don't know, they have some motivation other that wants other people to be forced into believing what they believe. And at least for now, I think I will continue with that approach of calling people out that
Mm.
says lies. Hey, you're lying.
Well, I think like there's a few different definitions of lie, and it's weird. You're actually touching on one that Abraham Lincoln actually used um, in his address to a newspaper article. They wrote something about him that they had no possible way of knowing that was true. It was just kind of a haphazard guess of what he was going to do on a platform thing, and they didn't know about it anyway. In the letter, he had this kind of famous quote that says, "I believe it's established maxiom in morals that he who asserts a thing to be true without knowing it to be true is guilty of falsehood, and the accidental correctness of the assertion does not justify or excuse him." Abraham's position was that if they didn't know that in any factual sense that that thing was true, that to just say that this thing is true, um, that it was still a lie because they couldn't have known that that was true. So that's an interesting standard that Abraham kind of held, and I don't think he's alone in that. But that sounds like closer to what you're saying. They might just have some affinity towards this thing, and they might be mixing know with belief. And what they really mean to is exude a lot of confidence and say, "Yes, I'm super super confident that this thing is true." But to say that they know it is probably the wrong word.
Yeah, I think that I don't know, probably that's how and why I had privileged access information to the creator of the universe, Tulum.
Yeah.
So whenever anybody tells me God is real, I will play the same game that you want to play. I'm gonna get back to you and tell you, no, Tulum is real. And Tulum is the creator of the universe, and I can prove it to you. And when you ask me for proof, I'm gonna tell you, look at the universe. The universe is not gonna come from nothing. It had to come from a creator, and that creator is Tulum. You see, there is proof right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we can play
Satire,
that. We
satirical
can,
things. It works really good. I'm sorry.
yeah, and we can play that game all night on all streams. Every time you tell me God is real, I'm gonna respond to you, Tulum is real. And you're gonna tell me, no, Javier, God is real. I'm gonna tell you, no, Tulum is real, and I can prove it to you. And we get nowhere.
I agree. It's they're not figuring out the method thing. They're not figuring out that, like, if there was another thing that they didn't believe was the case and we were trying to convince them that we would want some they would want some kind of method of arriving at that conclusion. And if they could see it, if they I guess, and I've tried to find different ways to do it. The one that I use as an example all the time is like, if what would I need to give you to prove to you that Zeus, was a god and that he was real? What kind of evidence would you need? And there's this kind of dissonance. Well, he can't be true. He can't be true because their God is true, and that's how they dismiss him, rather than answering the question of, like, what is the criteria. They won't address that there needs to be some kind of standard by which you judge something whether it's true or has merit, and I don't think they think in that way. I don't know. It's weird for me now because I've been out of it so long, um, to see people that do think in that way. But I think this is why, like, when we got these different camps of, like, atheist and agnostic, is and many Christians and many theists of different kinds, they don't understand the distinction between these two, and they think, oh well, an agnostic thinks it's 50-50. That's not at all what the agnostic thinks. The agnostic thinks that the subject is beyond knowing, that it's a non-epistemological subject. It's like saying whether you know for sure Bertrand Russell's teapot is floating up there in space. The agnostic just acknowledges that he can't know that. that cannot be known. It's a subject that's not falsifiable, it's not testable. You can't in any way know that. So that's the end of the subject for him. It's an unknown. I would say I could go further by saying if I can't know whether a thing is true or not, I'm not compelled to believe that that thing is true. So whether it's Bertrand Russell's teapot, or whether it's fairies in my garden, or whether it's a divine artificer and creator, like if I can't know that that thing is true with any epistemological standard, then I'm not compelled to believe it, so I don't.
Jamie writes, "That's okay, brother. I'm not lying. I just pray that you and your family receive nothing but blessings, brother. I wasn't sure how you came to the conclusion that I was lying." Thank you, Jamie. I know probably deep in your heart you mean good. Um, Myself to you, back to you. I look forward that one day you realize that the information that somehow you were persuaded to believe is real. It seems to me that it's not. And I think it will be better if you go back to being an honest human being. And I think probably your family and your friends and your country are going to appreciate that, instead of being someone that sounds more like brainwash and repeat things that cannot prove to anybody. I think you lose a lot of credibility like that. Probably you can go back and say, you know what, I don't know where I come from, I don't know where I go when I die, and just be sincere and honest. But you're one of those people now that explain anything with an invisible being. It's not very credible. I don't think it does you good. Most likely you're a very good person acting weird now with this information about this invisible God. Peace. K2P, atheists are in a limited belief of just science. Believers understand that science is included. This seems to create a division mainly in atheists. Peace? No, it seems to me, and this is the basis of the presentation, that most believers are confused about what is a belief and what is a fact. Very confused, extremely confused. So we're trying to bring awareness to the problematic of believing in gods, and to try to clarify to believers, to most believers, what is a belief and what is a fact. Don't confuse them.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a problem. There's some kind of dissonance going on here. I wish I could understand like the psychology of it. And like we have what's called cognitive blocking. That's it's caused by this sensation of cognitive dissonance, like that you're very uncomfortable with even entertaining a particular proposition, to the degree that we know that some people can block the possibility of that. Like they couldn't even, someone could be dead on their floor and they couldn't perceive it. It's like, no, that's not true. No, it's not true. It's not true. And they just totally block because they don't want to acknowledge that. And there's this thing, it seems like, happens with religion, that everything else that they believe, that they think is a thing, that they're using some kind of criteria, that there's been a threshold for them to believe that. But this thing, they don't have a criteria. They don't have a standard for it. That's why I do the Zeus thing. So, or another god, pick another god. Like, what would it take? And it's so weird to see them, how they would interact with it. Like, I think they could if they could write for me a method that could eliminate could eliminate Zeus or another god, but still leave room for theirs. That would be fantastic.
I think in a way that will be like shooting themselves on the foot, because you're asking them to risk what they have found to be a source of feel good. Because gaining understanding about what's going on under their belief and about the God, they could run the risk that they're not going to feel good anymore about their belief.
Yeah. Have you heard the dragon? Oh, you want to address some chat? Go ahead.
Yeah. Jamie writes, apologize if I push your buttons. Jamie, when I said that comment, I was referring me pushing people's buttons when someone tells me that God is real and I tell them, no, Chulum is real. I'm not saying that you're pushing my buttons. I actually appreciate you being here and, expressing your your opinions, sharing your beliefs. Jamie, if ever you are aware of a God, you have some information, please don't be selfish. Share with us. We would like to know if there's a God out there. For now, it's okay. I will listen to your beliefs and your opinions and your views. Go ahead, Robert.
Curious if you or other people that maybe aren't believers in here, if they have a particular thing that they believe, that they wouldn't say that they believe, that they'd say that they know it's true, but that they're not able to in any way demonstrate or like logically come to that. I'm curious if there's anyone that doesn't believe in a God particularly, but thinks there's something, anything in their life that they know that it's true, but they're not able to demonstrate it in any way.
Wow, it's a
Do
tough
you
one.
have something?
You're referring to non-believers?
Yes, non-believers, that you could say something that, no, I know this is true, but it's a thing that you can in any way demonstrate reasonably, logically. You can't show any evidence for.
If, man, I have some theories. I don't think I believe them.
Right. I'm the same way. Like, there's a lot of things I was like, it's likely true, but I wouldn't say any single thing that I can think of that I'm like, no, I know this is true, but I can't meet this threshold of criteria. I would never use that term. I know.
I think that would show that probably the person have come to a conclusion. When you say that you believe, probably wouldn't that be like coming to a conclusion?
Yeah, we water it down with a belief. Like, we'll say believe, I believe, because we know that that's different than saying I know, because like, it has to be a fact for us to say that I know it, right? And there's some kind of like criteria for establishing a fact. So we generally we don't speak in such definitives unless like it's something very definitive, right? So even when we're talking about this, you tend to fall back to a word like believe. Like, yeah, I might believe this thing, but I can't demonstrate it. But they don't speak in that terminology. They're like, yeah, I know this thing, but I can't demonstrate it, which is super weird to me.
Wouldn't that be like when people say God is real? When you ask them, how do you know?
Yep.
And they say, I know because I know.
Yeah.
Let me address this. TP Seeker writes, out of Babylon, when have you ever heard Clearwaters mention money? Super chats. Just to clarify, TP Seeker, I made a comment at the beginning that when I decided to do this channel and other channels that I've tried before is because of money, to make money. Not really, trying to find an excuse to get me to do videos and live streams. I think that what clicked me to really get into this was Ray Comfort. And that's why his channel is called Living Waters and mine is called Clear Waters. So I'm still with my goal of making money, which I know most likely doing this thing, I'm not gonna make any money. But through this process of initially going for the money, now I'm finding value in doing these things about trying to engage in conversations and ask questions about people's beliefs, and I don't know, try to do something about this world and make it a better place. How a better way to be that to have a window out to the world and talk to people all over the world, especially on a live stream. So yeah, I was talking about that. Some of the stuff that is available right now, like super chats and stuff like that. I mean, that's done automatically by, I guess by YouTube. I have to activate them. Yes, of course. I'm not gonna block people sending me money or YouTube paying me. So I'm not stupid.
I mean, 774 subscribers. We all see it. We're all very aware that you're not making really any money doing this. So that claim is super weird to me. I mean, if we're happy doing this and we like doing this, people tend to want to be able to make a living doing something that makes them happy. And I do this, I only run a show every Sunday. My growth on it is very slow. I have different people on all the time. But I hope one day maybe I'll be able to at least support this with different like programs and have paid subscriptions for Restream and stuff like that. That it can be self-sustained and I have good tools to make videos and stuff. But as far as actually ever making a living, that's something of a pipe dream. Would I like it? Yeah, because I enjoy having these conversations, and if I could make a living doing that, that'd be great. But realistically, no one is doing this for the money. If you want to make the money, you don't argue this side of the fence.
Yep.
Trust me, you were on the wrong side for the money. You go over to the other side and you talk about how you found Jesus, but you was an atheist, and then you start a church and you rake it in.
Yeah, I've said before that if I'm really focused on money, I would change the name of the channel and call it God's Clear Waters and start selling God and salvation. And then I'll be making the big bucks.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
I'm gonna tell you something out of Babylon. You wrote a comment. You wrote, "He does it for money, not to seek truth." I'm gonna tell you a little secret out of Babylon. I'm at my 54 years old. I'm discovering that what makes the difference is people doing. Do it. Do something, even if it's wrong or good, or if it's not gonna end up in being something important. There's two kind of people: the people that do and people that don't. That's it. Mostly people that don't, they're the one that complain. Seems to be complaining a lot.
The money thing's just a cop out. I mean, obviously, you engage with him, you talk to him, you invite him on the channel, you have all these conversations, and none of this did you make any money on it, but yet you did all these things. So I think that's a red herring.
Yeah. Hold on, Judea. Let me. There you go. You can unmute yourself now if you want. Welcome, Judea, to Discord. TP Seeker writes, "Give me a timestamp when Clearwaters mentioned money."
It was on another chat.
So what?
It was on another chat. I think you mentioned it. It was a few days ago, huh? I think I was in here when it happened.
Yeah, I mentioned money on many live streams. I'm actually sharing also that I'm working on other projects that I'm trying to be, or my goal is to be a billionaire, because now millionaires doesn't mean much in today's value of money. So now I change it to billionaire, and the way I have find out the best way to do it is to make other people also billionaires. So hang in there, because I want to make billionaires in order to make myself billionaires. Sometime I will tell you about it. I'm working on that right now. If you're not interested in money, because it will provide you a source of freedom in your life, so you can spend more time with your family and do more things and have more freedom. If you're not interested in that, like myself, just don't do anything about it. That's it. No necessary to complain or do anything. I do want my freedom back. I'm not free right now. I'm a slave of my own creation. I'm a slave of my ignorance.
Are you sure Judea is unmuted, or is that on their side, or what?
Judea.
Oh, they just left. Must have been on their side.
Oh, he said that he was just checking the link.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Judea, I just unblock you. You know, you're unmuted. So anytime you want to join and Discord and have a conversation, just go ahead and join.
You're my guilty drug, man. I come in here and I was like, oh, I'll just check the side chat. I'm not going to jump in there. Do it every time. Every time I do
it. Jamie, if the link says expired, just provide me with your username and I'll send you an invitation link directly. Just write it on the chat, write your user, I'll send you an invitation.
In denial of what?
Viking Lloyd, welcome to the live stream. Atheists are in denial of what? If you don't mind my asking. Because just saying that in denial sounds like, I don't know, a message that provides no message.
Yeah, that's a retention argument. I think I told you about it before, that like they do on the Santa Claus movies. What happens is they spread it amongst themselves that it can't be that these people don't believe that, right? Whether they're talking about an older person, it's not possible that they don't believe in Santa, right? They tell this amongst the children, and that they're just upset with them. So the theists do the same thing amongst other theists. They're like, no, no, all of the atheists, they do believe, they're just upset. They're just in denial internally, and they like believe their own rhetoric.
Yeah, Viking Lloyd, just in case you're interested, what you're doing right now is just playing games, because I can tell you the same thing. Believers are just in denial, you know, of reality, that we don't know if there's a God. And we can play that game. We're not gonna go anywhere. Thank you, Judea, for testing the link. You just proved that the link works fine. I was trying to was trying to connect. Jamie, I think it was. I don't know. Whoever was trying to connect, the link is working. If it doesn't work for you, just send me your user, your Discord user, and I send you an invitation directly. Brent
Explore
A,
avenues.
welcome to the live
Sorry,
stream. Go ahead, Robert.
did you see that? Explore avenues that the world keeps hidden. There is conspiracy that just oozes off of Babylon. I don't know if you noticed, like every word that I hear from him is a constant, like they, them, the group, the power, they're out to get us. They don't want you to know these things. Kind of, there's this constant narrative of agenicity that is out to get. Like, I've been seeing it from the get go, more so than anyone in the chat.
This is some extremes, present some fantasy world where everybody's happy and everybody's smelling flowers, and then complains about the reality right now, and then don't present any solutions. Something that is, it seems to me, very emotional. Internally, some internal conflict. TP Seeker, nobody knows peace. We just know universe is still expanding, and we have discovered ingredients for life in 2 different asteroids. Viking Lloyd, if you want to know God, do the right thing, sacrifice all in that hour, and have a little faith. It starts with doing the right thing. Viking Lloyd, if you really want to know Chulum, do the right thing, sacrifice all that hour, and have a little faith. Well, you don't have to have faith with Chulum because he doesn't care. He doesn't interfere with humanity. So I think it starts with accepting that Chulum is the creator of the universe. By the way, with Chulum, I don't know if I said it. If I said it, there are no sacrifices, no need for blood, and no need for violence with Chulum.
What is this weird thing with jobs and work as of lately? How many people sacrifice their ethics and morals for a job? I don't, like, who knows that? If I had to guess, almost no one. But yeah, I mean, maybe if your job is prostituting or something that like you don't feel comfortable about, yeah. But I mean, to act like there's some majority that sacrifices their ethics for a job, what the hell are you talking about? Are you giving BJ's behind the Burger King or something?
Viking Lloyd wrote, how many people sacrifice their ethics and morals for a job, then complain about God?
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about.
I don't even know what to say about that comment. Bert Russell, fundamentalists are so threatened by people who reject their dogma. Maybe that's because subconsciously they know it's complete BS. But Russell, I think in a way, when someone is emotionally dependent on their belief in one of these invisible entities or beings, yeah, they're gonna reject and they're gonna get upset about anybody that is gonna threaten their emotional stability and attachment to one of these invisible entities. It makes a lot of sense. So if
Yep.
you don't believe what they believe, yeah, they're gonna get upset. If you don't validate their belief, they're gonna get upset. And understand, it's not the God getting upset, it's the believer getting upset. Impossible for the God to get upset, especially the God of the
Later,
Bible.
Jamie. Jamie said he was. I
Hey,
think it's
Jamie, have a good night.
All right.
Thank you for stopping by.
Yeah, what TP Seeker said, the chat's open. Y'all can come in and chat.
If you're seeker, right? Well, that's a good thing about Clearwaters. You can call in or use chat to discuss what you disagree with. Yeah, we don't block anyone here. We disagree. We have conversations. We express our views. And all the time that I have this channel, I have only blocked one person, and because I thought that it was being nasty, not good for conversation.
I also have no one blocked on my channel presently. We'll
There's
say that
always-
I won't eventually.
There's always going to be
I've had
one
some people
person.
Yeah. There's always I've seen enough of them to know that eventually, like, we've had some people kicked by the moderators on my channel. Like, there's a few mods that's been passed out, and some of them's like timed them out and stuff, but no one's kicked or restricted. I seen the next comment here was so no one's overworked and underpaid. I think that's corresponding to his previous comment of sacrificing ethics for a job, which I'm not sure what that or morality, what that would have to do with being overworked and underpaid. Overworked and underpaid is it's kind of an alt statement of, like, you think you ought to work less for more pay, if that makes sense. It's just kind of like, oh, I think I'm more valuable than what I'm getting paid. And it has nothing like whatsoever to do with morals. It's a weird correlation.
Viking Lloyd, to that comment, there's no grace in a world full of deadlines. I don't know. To me, I have my own views about our problems that we have in this world. And it all starts from a point of ignorance. And then you can call it whatever other thing, whatever else. But it starts from a point of ignorance about how we operate as human beings. I always say the same thing. And who we are. What are we able to do? We buy into other people's definitions about things. Like when you believe in a God, you're really accepting someone else's view on life. I don't know why people accept so easily these views from other people and think they're real and talk about them as facts, when in reality are just beliefs.
There's the out of Babylon statement. There's some truth to that. I mean, I
Out
was
of-
trying to
out of-
profit from one.
Out of Babylon writes, all holy books conclude in loving one another as you do yourself. Division again comes from us desiring to profit from one another. Out of Babylon, I think one of the most precious thing you can get from someone else is their energy. That's what everybody that sells salvation and God are trying to get from other people, and convert that energy into money, into attention, because it creates views and people get money out of it. You want to say something about that comment, Robert?
Yeah, I mean, I guess Well, there's some truth to it, and that's probably because it has nothing to do with a holy book. It's kind of a self-evident thing, that you treat others how you want to be treated because there's reciprocal behavior. That's all there is to that. You can learn that as a baby, when you snatch someone else's toy and then they snatch it back, and you realize, look, I don't do what you don't want done to you. I think the most modern saying of it now is what comes around goes around, so to speak. So, yeah, I mean, it's such a self-evident thing. No holy book ever needed to be written to know that. Like you could learn that as a 3-year old, that how you treat people, it's going to come back around. So, uh, but as to the other statement, I mean, we have commerce. We get, even when we're making trades, if we have bear skins or something like that, and somebody else has some other thing, we are thinking about what we can get from them. We're just trading it. And what's so weird is like your whole thing against money, but you're here on the internet. Like, how do you have internet? Did you pay for that with like tomato trade? Or how did you get internet? I don't understand how you're here. I mean, you have to be using this money. And I mean, the best theory on operating ethics is that you walk the line that you talk. Be the change you want to see in the world. Take all of your money today out of Babylon and get rid of it. It's evil, it's bad. But I have a sneaky suspicion you're not going to do that because you still need to pay your bills and you like your internet.
Yep. I like this comment from Bert Russell to Viking Lloyd. You embrace one of the most vile religions on the planet. I don't think we'll be taking any moral advice from you today.
The Abrahamic faith is it's up there. I mean, it's definitely up there. Is You don't see this, especially modern religions. Newer religions don't have like the blood that the Abrahamic faith has. Even like Scientology and stuff like this, there's nothing even close in these more modern religions to the call for blood, and this has to be paid for life, with a person's life, and these like burning in hell, and I don't know. It's just very very Stone Age.
DP Seeker writes at Viking Lloyd, do you think you can just vault into work whenever you want to and walk out when you feel like it? Viking Lloyd writes, that's not what I'm saying. I just know the system is rigged to get all the hard work done for pennies on the dollar since the dawn of civilization. Viking Lloyd, this is ignorance from our part. We are the ones sustaining this system right now. This is like complaining about something externally when we are the ones creating this system and maintaining this system. Just like
Yeah,
we are
everyone.
maintaining these crazy governments that don't work in each of our countries, and we continue maintaining and uh, contributing this form of government.
I don't know why people keep using love as an example for God, like that it's invisible, but it's still real. It's so weird that y'all do this. I've said over and over that everything that we know about an affinity or a desire for somebody or someone, whether you call it like or whether you call it love, these aren't two distinct things. This is a scale. It starts at the very bottom and we say, I want this thing in my life enough that I would, sacrifice this. And then it begins to escalate from there. Okay, I want this enough in my life that I would sacrifice like a lot. Okay, I want this in my life, or I want this thing to be so much that I would sacrifice every single thing. There's not a distinction between like and love except scale. So all these are internal preferences in our mind. Like Javier has a pair of headset on right now that he's wearing, and he might like that headset, but he's probably not going to sacrifice a lot to keep that headset. Whereas he might have relatives that he might sacrifice a significant amount. But this is just a scale. Going up. So when you people talk about love as if it's some external, invisible thing, what the hell are you talking about? It's in our brain. Yeah, it's real. It's real in our brain. If you want us to concede that your God is real and in the brain, I'm happy. Look, we'll shake hands and agree right there. We'll concede that God is real in your brain, just like love is. But this is like saying dream is real. Like, just replace the word love with dream and be like, dream is real. The dream is inside of your head.
It seems to me that Viking Lloyd is after trying to make some change to recognize that there's a problem, but you're crossing the line of sounding like you're more complaining than anything else. And it seems to me that your solution is probably the God. Is that what you're gonna say? You write, Viking Lloyd writes, are you prepared to sacrifice everything? What do you mean by that question? TP Seeker writes, I've busted my ass for everything I have. I have been working ever since I was a kid. My parents work from sunrise to sunset. And out of Babylon want to take that away from you.
I'm
Yes.
not saying the system's fair. By no means do I think it is. And I do think that the government probably needs to stop more monopolization and proprietization. I mean, I understand the sentiment that a lot of people have. I don't. I think many people, they're born with a silver spoon and they keep the silver spoon, and it's very difficult to lose the silver spoon. Whereas getting any, gaining any ground, people struggle their whole lives, working hard jobs, and they don't gain any ground. And is it fair? By no means. By no means is it fair. But to like say, let's burn the whole system down, I I don't know. This is ridiculous.
Hey Judy, I didn't see you on the vertical. Well, hopefully you found the horizontal stream. Judy writes, all the cool kids are in the vertical. All my
I don't believe it.
yeah, all my Professor Hazel, I don't know if he's still there, but there's two people on the vertical. All my presentations are optimized for the horizontal stream, not the vertical. The vertical screen is too tight for presentations. But
I guess I got to keep both open now.
yeah, I still make presentations or live streams on the vertical because I think YouTube puts it on the shorts section. Out of Babylon writes, that's the issue, TP Seeker. We are children of those that thought the same way. Mad at God because they busted their ass and now the other person gets it for free. I don't know. Silent whoosh. Our brains are capable of believing anything given enough LSD and magic mushrooms. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it even takes that.
Judy, yeah, horizontal rules. Yeah, a little bit better on the horizontal. More space to add information. Let me flip to some of these scenes from the presentation, initial presentation. TP Seeker to Out of Babylon. When the fuck did I mention God? I'm discussing reality. I bought my first bike from working. I bought my parents an AC so they could enjoy a good night's sleep for a roof of our heads. That's nice. That's nice. Mm, Out of Babylon.
I still don't think that means anything to me. Like if everything is God, like then there's no distinction to it. It's like the word doesn't mean anything then.
what's practical about that information? What are you gonna do with it? Oh, I am God. I have to take out my garbage.
Right, perfect.
I mean, it's not like magically I'm gonna close my eyes and through the power of my, I don't know, my godness, I'm gonna take the trash without moving from my seat. I don't know. It's not gonna change anything. I remember I read a book many years ago. The title was I Am God, or I don't know, You Are God. It was basically saying what you're saying out of Babylon, but it really didn't make any changes in my life. I read it from first page to the last page and I was excited about it, but I'm like, wait a second. What am I going to do with this information? I am God. Nothing changes.
I gotta say this, like the next statement though, that I've already mentioned, like you're using money for the internet that you're on. Like I don't know either if you're living on someone else, like if you're living with a parent or with a friend and they're paying for everything and they're paying for the internet that you're typing on. I don't know, or whether you're paying for it or how it's getting paid for. But I think that there is a certain amount of, dare I say, hypocrisy to you not stopping your use of money, like it, while telling us all that the problem is we're using money. It's like punching a child and saying you shouldn't do punch children while doing it. Like I don't understand your problem here, that you're disconnect, that you think this is wrong but you're still doing it.
The other day, out of Babylon called on the Discord from his work. According to him.
Oh,
Was at
so
work.
he does work a job.
Okay. Apparently, yes.
Quit now. Leave everything and follow. What's the commandment from Jesus?
Follow Jesus?
Follow him. Yeah. Yeah. Leave it all behind. Sell everything you have. You don't need any of this.
Yeah, you can start the movement of for money to fail. Start it. Stop using money. Judia, those comments were from a while ago. Okay. Yeah, horizontal, better. Definitely. Out of Babylon writes, we can do anything we imagine to do, like the Saturday cartoon, The Muppet Babies. That was a powerful show growing up for me.
Yeah.
Okay, Out of Babylon, thumbs up.
No. He's onto something.
I don't know.
I think the Muppet Babies had more moral teachings than anything I've read in the Bible.
Wow. Silent Whoosh is asking, if God proved he was real, would you choose to be with him? I don't think.
Is this real?
I don't think.
I see it.
I don't think that many believers would do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird if you think of it the other way. Like if Zeus proved himself to be real, like would you choose to be with him? Like, I'm just curious how believers would answer that question. It'd be a little interesting. I'll answer the question, but please answer this one for me, Silent Whoosh. If Zeus proved himself to be the true God, would you be with him? Now that said, if God proved himself to be the true God and like the artificer of all things, like that he made the universe and kind of dictates what good is and whatnot, then yeah, I guess so. I would have a lot of questions as to why so much stuff was allowed to unfold. I mean, the Holocaust for one. I mean, I would have a ton of questions, but I would expect that God could answer and explain this at some point. Hopefully.
If God proved he was real, he commands you to give all your money away, empty all your bank accounts, and follow him. He's gonna sustain you with money or whatever, food. And talking about that, anybody knows what happened to Esh Kodesh? I haven't seen him in a while. Kodesh, if people don't know, he sold everything, got rid of everything, got in his van, and drove to New York. And he was preaching in Manhattan without any money, no place to stay. And he was preaching the God's word. I haven't seen him in a while.
Who knows? I mean, there's enough Christians out there now to feel for this person and throw money to him constantly. But I don't know if he uses that money. I don't know.
Esh Kodesh?
Yeah, I mean, is he like just disown money altogether? Or?
I don't know. But man, his messages that he sent on video, I don't know. I'm not gonna say anything. I sometimes visit him on his live streams and say hi, but hey, speaker to animals, if you don't mind, please, can you write on the Discord what is your YouTube username, if you don't mind? Oh, Jamie got to the Discord.
Oh, was that? I mean, I don't know why they left. We just want you to say something on the YouTube so that we can see who is who.
Yeah. Right. Oh. Or are you in YouTube? Just for anybody to know, if you join the Discord and you have a different username, just let me know who are you on the live stream, and I can unblock you and join us on Discord.
I would be remiss if I didn't mention that I felt like I operated with Silent Whoosh and answered his question in good faith, but I didn't get mine answered. So if I could push that one more time, would you answer the question? If Zeus proved himself to be the true God, would you be with him? I guess we'll use your comparative.
Where Russell writes to a Silent Whoosh, having a gun held to your head isn't a choice. Peace. Right. We know that money and material things don't make you happy. This is a fact and said in the Bible, but doesn't really prove anything. Only that a facts in Bible. You know, there's a saying that I prefer to be unhappy with money than being unhappy without money.
Is Silent Whoosh really going to bail on us and not answer that question? You would believe in his existence, yes, but you wouldn't necessarily follow Zeus just because you believed in his existence. I mean, you didn't really answer the full question. Yours was like, and be with him, and whatever that implies. Like, would you the same? And we'll assume that like the literature of the Greeks that defined Zeus and who he was and what he wanted is correct, right? That's the characterage of Zeus, and that's who proved that they were real. Would you then like be with him and whatever that implies? Okay.
What does
That's
the
weird.
atheist claim? I'm just flipping through the things from the presentation. I'm showing right now. What does the atheist claim? The atheists claim that they have many fish.
What does the atheist claim?
They don't make any claims.
There's no claims exactly. It's just a position to one particular question. Like, this is a complicated one. You believe in a God? And if the answer is no, like that's just the total category. That's it. Nothing else is said by the statement. Like, not that I believe in the affirmative this, not that this is my moral framework, not that this is my ontology, not that this is my ethics. Like, nothing else is connected to that. It's just that to that question, do you believe in a God? If the answer is no, that's the total set that is atheist.
Brent 8 writes, the atheists claim that no gods exist. Is that what atheists?
No, that's what we generally refer to in philosophy as a hard atheist. Is a hard atheist position is now is kind of the thing. Unfortunately, the term has been defined largely by theist, which was the majority. And they're like, oh yeah, you say that one doesn't exist, like you have an affirmative position of the negative, which is super weird. But it's like saying, oh, you're of the position that a particular stamp doesn't exist. Let's say there's this mythical stamp that everybody's talking about collecting. Oh, and if you're of the position that stamp doesn't exist, no country made it, it doesn't exist. It'd be weird to have an affirmative position of that. It would just be like, I don't think it's true, and we have no documentation that would back that stamp is true, so I don't hold that it's the case.
I think that probably most atheists would say that they are not convinced that there's a God, or they don't have enough evidence that there's a God.
Yeah, that's two things that he's got wrong now, because now he said what agnosticism is just a neutral position in which the individual neither affirms nor denies the existence. It's not that at all. What it is that he takes the position of non-knowledge, or agnosis, that you can't know, that a subject is non-knowable. You can be agnostic about another thing. I have a comb in my hand right now, and this comb is fiery red. You may say, in some sense, you can't know that whatsoever and be agnostic about that. It doesn't mean whether you believe it or don't believe it. It has nothing to do with your position that you can't know it. Nothing whatsoever. So you could be agnostic atheist or agnostic theist. The agnostic is only that you are without knowing, or you recognize that the subject cannot in any epistemological sense be known. I mean, it's in the name, agnostic. I mean, it's literally, just study the Greek, it's literally in the name.
Brent 8 writes, take it up with Wikipedia, look up agnosticism and argue with Huxley. Brente, are you getting information really from Wikipedia? Wow.
No, this was a position that that Huxley wound up representing, what we now kind of refer to as Huxley agnosticism. I've chatted with a guy named, it wasn't actually Huxley. Actually, Huxley's been dead for many years, but he was titled Huxley agnostic, and he did this thing like, if you say you don't believe, then that's an affirmative position, which is weird. Like, if you don't believe in anything, it doesn't matter. You don't believe in UFOs, for example. Does that mean that you think UFOs can't exist? That would be, that'd be weird.
Brente, you know that when I started doing, not really when I started doing, but I used to use Wikipedia a lot years back. And I started noticing some weird information coming from Wikipedia. I'm like, wait a second. I got a little suspicious, and then it comes out that Wikipedia apparently was mostly influenced, from what I heard, from people from the left, and manipulating information and changing definitions. And I stopped using Wikipedia many years ago. Never ever went back. I started the suspicion myself because I was spending many hours in Wikipedia. Everything that was research, I would do it and find information in there. and I started to notice some of the information. Some of the information was kind of weird to me. So yeah, never again, Wikipedia. And I
Well,
learned
I
my
mean,
lesson not to trust anybody, not one source ever.
well, it says in the second line, even of the Wikipedia page, though, as a general claim stating that God's existence is unknown or unknowable. So the subject is outside of knowledge. I mean, he can make all the claims that come from Wikipedia that you won't. I'm looking at the Wikipedia page. This I guess it's the second and then the third line. It's almost word for word what I said. This is it's a position that it's unknowable. That doesn't. It's not a answering the question whether you believe it or not, though. So if someone says something's unknowable, find something that you could say is unknowable, but you say you believe. That's the point I was trying to point out earlier. Like, me and you would generally not say that I can't know something in any sense. I don't know. That was a little different than how I worded it earlier when I was talking to you about it. You know what I was referring to? When I was asking you, can you think of a thing that you could say you can't falsify or prove, but that you would still say I know it?
In reference to believing in something.
Yeah, anything. It doesn't have to be a god. Like, this is why I was asking you earlier.
Mm-hmm. I
Like,
remember,
would you
yes.
say that? Yeah. Would you say? I don't think most non-believers would say that they know something if it's not falsifiable or there's not
Mm-hmm.
some way to demonstrate it. So I think the average person like understands what agnosticism is. They understand, like, I can't know that, so why would I say like this is the case?
Brent Dane writes, definitely let's keep arguing definitions, cause thou may God show up. Brent Day also writes, oh Lord, no clear waters, you fell for the propaganda. No, I didn't, Brent Day. I find out by myself, by the information I was reading in Wikipedia. Then, after doing a little research, I understood why the information was the way it was. Wikipedia started like something good for humanity, like source of good information, then it got changed. That's one of the things that I like to do: research, read, understand. And that happens to me. I learned my lesson because trying to get all my information from one source, never again.
It's such a just a
Oh,
blatantly
Diva.
stupid statement by Diva. Democrat socialists want to abolish the presidency, the Senate, empty all prisons, wide open borders, defund military, and get rid of all police. Like, find any candidate that's in that group whatsoever that has said even one of these things, that they want to do these things. This is just a propaganda thing from far right conservatism that like propagates that this is the case. Getting rid of the president. I'm curious, like, where I've never even heard Fox spin that story. Like, I've never heard like hyper conservative news outlets even try to do, oh, they want to abolish the presidency. What the hell are you talking about?
Bear Brussel. Oh, hold on. Diva, welcome to the live stream. Bear Russell, Brent A. Yeah, I'm surprised. I don't know if Bert Russell is that regarding the comment of me not getting my sources from Wikipedia. And also to the comment from Brent A asking probably me to then give a specific examples, please. And probably I'm not gonna do a live stream on that specifically, but I can make a section of some live stream about that. Then I will have to go back because I haven't used Wikipedia for many years. I cannot come up with something on the top of my head right now, but there were like 3 or 4 different pieces of information or articles that I got from Wikipedia that I have to do some research why they were changing some names or some information. And again, it could be fixed right now and it's a good, reliable source of information. I don't trust it anymore. I'm gonna research something. I try to do it like for 3 different sources.
I take it he's talking about this Fox story with what they call the DYC DSA co-chair. I don't know this person's low-level position to start with before we even start the video. I think that's what he's talking about. And now he's like, well, that's the representative of the party. That's problem when, like, before that video even gets started. It's like me bringing in a guy like, let's bring in a wizard from the KKK that's always voted conservative and had big parts of the conservative party, and let's talk about him and say he's indicative and representative of the party. Why would anyone do that? That it's just not true.
Professor Hazel, yes, you're on the vertical stream. I just sent you the link for the horizontal stream. There's a little bit more people on the horizontal stream.
It's like, this would be like CNN doing an interview with David Duke and being like, Republican Party leader says every conservative would be outraged.
Bert Russell, clear waters, some left-leaning bias is a good thing. Republicans and other conservatives reject science and education in general. Educated people gravitate to the left. Bert Russell, I don't believe in left or right. I mentioned that because, if I'm not mistaken, I was mentioning what I find out or read about, that this Wikipedia was being influenced by people that tended to be on the left side. I don't believe in this stuff. I like to be independent. I like to come up with my own conclusions and not be part of any group. But definitely, I'm not in favor of the right, and I'm not in favor of the left. I don't think like the right, and I don't think like the left. I come with my own conclusions. I take a little bit of the right. I take a little bit of the left. And again, my own views, not group thinking. Brent Day, Clearwaters, as Bird is saying, the idea of manufacturing consent by the mass media is a known effect. It pushes right-wing narratives. Brent Day, are you being serious, my friend? I'm an unbeliever of many things. I don't trust information from anybody. I question everything. I don't jump to conclusions. If someone tells me, hey, there's a green donkey, I will ask him, let me see the hairs of the donkey, or let me see the donkey, the green donkey. I don't go around believing people's information. Probably I will be a believer in an invisible being. I would act in that way. Bert Russell, Clearwaters, I accept your position, but disagree that there's any semblance of a moral equivalence between the left and the right. Far from it. Moral equivalence. Bert Russell, it seems to me, I mean, we're getting into a different topic, but thank you so much for bringing this up. I don't lean left or right. I think the moment I start thinking, probably the left has a better, no, I'm sold to one side and I'm just trying to, hide it a little bit. No, the left has absolutely horrible ideas. Okay? Just like the right. To Bert Russell and Brent A, I don't know exactly which left are you talking about. I have always understood that left is on the side of leveling the plane, the playing field, make things more equal, equality, which in my way of thinking, coming from a country that I experienced a dictatorship, this is fantasy land. I just mentioned one, Brente. Dan Edwards. Christians are willing to believe in methodology and magic and witchcraft. And atheists prefer evidence. Those pesky atheists always asking questions, always want to understand things. You cannot just be happy. Diva don't play what? What are you talking about? Play the video from the number 2 DSA party leader. Give me a little bit of information. What is it about? Silent Whoosh, there will always be good people and bad people. I don't agree with you, Silent Whoosh. There's always going to be people knowledgeable, and there's going to be people happy not to be knowledgeable. That's why the saying goes, ignorance is bliss.
Hate to do this to you early, but I'm fixing to be bailing. Hopefully you get some people on here.
Thank you, Robert. Appreciate it.
All right, man. Talk to you later.
Peace writes, both sides are control. Control is the issue, but as you said, is off topic. Absolutely correct, Peace. Yes. Diva don't play. Javier, show Robert. I'm not lying. Diva, Robert left. Brent A. Clearwaters, maybe I missed it. Are you saying that dictatorship is an idea of the left? I don't know if the correct word, Brent A, is an idea. And no, because here in Panama, when we had Noriega, it was a dictatorship, a violent dictatorship, people, disappearing all the time. He was not into, communism or level the plane and equally for everybody. No. No, it's not something that is only for the left or communism. No. But, for example, in Nicaragua, well, Nicaragua also a dictatorship, just a guy that wants to be in power forever. Bert Russell, conservatives don't tolerate uncertainty well, hence their tendency to make shit up to fill in the blanks. Ooh, Bert Russell, I don't know what you mean by that exactly. I like to understand these things. This is, thank you, Bert Russell and Brent A. This is definitely a topic that I would like to get into, because we're talking about, governments, like what happens in the country. And I don't know if you guys are aware, I presented in one of my live streams a new form of government. So this is definitely a topic that I like. Diva Don't Play writes, Democrat, socialist, number 2 leader live on TV said they want to abolish the presidency, the Senate, wide open borders, defund military, defund police, etc. Diva Don't Play, of course, Robert wants to leave. I don't know what's skeptics' philosophy views on politics. I'm not sure. Silent Whoosh, you don't have to be smart to know the difference between right and wrong. Silent Whoosh, I don't see life as being defined as right and wrong. Diva Don't Play. There's a topic there. Man, I didn't know that there was people interested in politics in these live streams. Man, definitely I'm inspired to do a live stream talking about politics. Come on. We're going to do it. We're going to do it, guys. This is definitely an interesting topic for me. I think it's important to have these conversations also. Diva Don't Play, I'm not gonna play that video in this live stream because that's changing too much the topic. But definitely, I think we're gonna head for next week to do a live stream talking about this topic, about politics, talking about the right, the left, Trump. Let's talk about the invasions of some of the countries been going on right now, like in Spain. Brent A. Clearwaters, I totally agree. Noriega was not left. Thanks for clarifying. I was worried there for a second you were going to say Noriega was a communist. So what's a bad idea on the left? Open borders? Is that an idea from the left? You can correct me if I'm wrong. No problem. Diva Don't Play. Javier, Robert called me a liar. Diva, I don't remember hearing Robert calling you a liar. Diva Don't Play writes, Robert is the liar. Diva Don't Play. You have the Holy Spirit in you. Don't be calling people's names because other people are a reflection of ourselves. Basically, you're saying you are a liar, and you cannot be a liar and have the Holy Spirit in you at the same time. That's why you don't hear me saying to people, you are a liar. I tell you, you are lying, but that doesn't mean that you're a liar. Brente, as long as we don't talk about Trump, Brente, no. We're gonna talk about Trump too. The good, the bad, and the ugly. we cannot limit access to the information, Brente. So even when I'm not a fan of Trump, yeah, we can talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly.
I didn't say anything about Trump.
Hey Diva, how are you?
Yeah, I don't really want to come up, but I want to clear my name. I made a comment that you read that the DSA, the Democrat Socialists, they said these things. Robert read it and he said, "You're a liar. You're a liar." That's what he said. So I got the video of the #2 leader of the DSA, not some politician who might do that or the #2 leader of the Democrat Socialist Party on live TV, agreeing to all those things when they're asked, proving that I'm not lying and Robert's lying because he knows it's true, but he doesn't want that to be out there because he probably supports that demonic stuff. So he called me a liar, and the comment that they said they were going to do: abolish the presidency, abolish the Senate, wide open borders, get rid of the military, get rid of police, all that stuff, which
Diva,
is stupid. He
don't,
called me a liar,
hey,
saying I made it
take a
up.
deep breath, relax.
No.
You're
When I
not a
produced,
liar.
I'm not a liar,
I
but
know
he's a
you
liar.
for a long time
Yeah,
in the
he's a
live streams. You're not a
yeah. I'm not a
liar.
liar. He's a liar.
And just to clarify to viewers, Diva is not a liar.
Of course not.
So,
And
but,
when I
but
produced the video, he ran.
Diva, this
He's
is
a little
gonna.
snake. He
I'm telling
ran.
you. I'm telling you. I'm
And he
gonna do
ran.
a live stream about this topic, okay? And you're gonna be able to express your views, and you're gonna be able to. I'll show your video, whatever you're saying, but
Well,
relax.
no, I made a point. He called me a liar, saying it doesn't exist. Like my God, it doesn't exist. And the
Man,
video of the #2 person that leads that party, that he agrees, the Democratic Socialist, the #2 leader, okay, the CEO, whatever, is on live TV, and they're asking her, what is your opinion on the presidency, on the Senate? And she's like, abolish it. We're getting rid of it. We're doing all this crazy communist stuff, and it's on the video. And then he ran. He called me a liar. I proved him wrong, and he ran. And then you're not playing it for him, so he can answer and say, "Oh, I guess I'm a liar. I guess I was a liar." So
just remember that he called you a liar. For the next week when we do a live stream about this topic, you can ask him why he's calling you a liar.
well, it's on tape, so you can replay
Yeah.
this tape at
Okay.
your
I'll
point.
I'll
And he
check it.
said, "I'm working." Yeah, he said it.
All right.
Yeah.
Brente is asking or saying, I'm sorry, writing, perfect. Yes, the left love open borders, clear waters. That would be a great topic. Brente, are you in agreement with open borders? Say my name, say my name.
Javier, do you understand about the stuff in America? Like, do you pay attention to like the Democrats, Republicans, and stuff like
Yes,
that? Do you understand that?
absolutely. All the time,
Do you
yes.
do you understand that the Democrats, the we'll say the medium, sorry, the establishment Democrats, right? The kind of center left Democrats, right? They're they're getting kind of taken over by the far left, and they're calling themselves Democratic Socialists, and they put the word Democrat on it to soften it. But when you look at so it's like a split in the party. But the thing is, their Democratic Socialists are winning elections right now. They're winning primaries against regular Democrats, right? So you got regular Democrats and you got the socialists. They're winning primaries. Mondami started it. You got Bernie Sanders, you got Graham Plattner, you got all these dudes. They're winning elections, right? It's like a split. There's regular Democrats and socialists, communists. These people, the person who is #2 in the DSA was on live TV this week, and they were asking her questions, and she was saying she was going to do all those things I put in my text. I didn't make it up. I didn't add one that she didn't say. Those and a few other things. So they're communists taking over the Democrat Party because the party's already there. Instead of making their own party, they just infiltrate the Democrat Party and they're taking it over. And so you got to vote Republican or either get ready for communists and craziness. So I'm just giving you a heads up. And the video, which this dude called me a liar because he knows it's true. He's lying because, he doesn't want to admit it. The lady says all these things in the interview. They ask her, they're like, is this lady crazy? She's really going to say they're going to abolish the presidency? They go, oh, And they're going to abolish the Supreme Court. That was the other one I forgot. The Supreme Court, they're getting rid of it. The Senate, they're getting rid of it. The presidency, they want to get rid of it. Open borders, empty out all the prisons, all the rapists and murderers and whatever, they let them out, let them all out. This is what the lady said live on TV. So I'm just letting people know the truth. You can check out the video, it's on there. I wanted to have you play it for Robert on live so he could eat crow, but you know, that's not the point. I just wanted to defend that I'm not lying. And I got the proof. So
All right.
that's all. That's all I want to say.
All right. Thank you for the clarification, Viva.
All right.
We'll talk about
God bless.
that conversation next week.
Yeah. You know, but you understand what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
that's radical.
Yeah,
right? Is that
absolutely.
radical?
Absolutely.
Okay.
There's some stuff that you said that I do agree, but I don't want to say much right now because I
No,
don't
no,
want
no.
to deviate so much from the topic.
So listen. Remember the text I said where I said they want to abolish the number two person want to
It's on
abolish the
tape.
president, right?
It's on tapes. Don't worry.
That's what I'm saying. Remember, you read it, right? It's the same thing that Robert said that's a lie, right? You read all those things. Make sure you watch the video and hear all the things they want to abolish from her mouth. The number two person,
Drop the
not
video
something that
on
hits
the
you in
Discord.
text. Yeah, the number two DSA socialist leader. That's the head of the party. Yeah. Okay.
TP Seeker, you're asking who, what? I don't know. I don't understand the question. Brent A. Okay, I see your messages. You wrote something about open borders and that everybody. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Oh, Brent A. wrote to Professor Hazel, nope, the strawman concept, remove all borders. Migration is a human right. This topic would be great. Open borders? Remove all borders? Really? And I'm doing a great effort, not trying not to deviate from the topic of this live stream, but I think the topic of governments and how we run governments in our countries is an absolutely important topic. Absolutely, because whatever happens in your government is going to affect us, our health, our economy, and our relationships to other people and to ourselves. That's how affected we are from how we run our governments. To Brent A, to Professor Hazel, to Diva, to Bert Russell. I was not aware that people would be interested in other topics. Man, when I made the live stream about a different form of government, man, there were like 4 or 5 viewers. So I'm like, man, people are not interested in this topic. So definitely I'm gonna make a topic regarding government, politics, you know. Definitely. Baloo 555, I know you asked about joining Discord. There's a link on the chats and also at the bottom of the screen. You are welcome to call anytime and have a conversation about this topic, about what causes division between atheists and believers in gods. Which I think that all the problem originates when, you know, most of the time when a believer chooses or by mistake confuses the word, confuses a belief with a fact. They are not the same thing. Peace. Yes. I tried to tell people that I was going to do a live stream about a new form of government, and I saw people joining and leaving almost immediately. A speaker to animals. Oh, that's you, Balu. Okay, sorry. Let me unblock you right now. Thank you for clarifying. Let me unlock you. There you go. Speaker to animals. You can speak now. Mute yourself. Whenever you want.
Hello, how are you?
Good. Yourself?
Good.
Awesome. You have a question or you want to say something?
Oh, I just the topic's interesting to me because over the years I've gone from being an atheist to being a deist now.
How did that happen? I'm just kidding.
Well, I mean, I've been an atheist since I was about 9 years old. But over the last few years, I've had to come away from that.
What happened
well,
exactly?
Well, it's not like nothing happened, but it's there's a lot of things that atheism just can't really explain, it seems like. Well,
I'm not an atheist. I'm gonna call you a speaker if it's okay with you. A speaker to animals with the username, but I'm not an atheist. I don't consider myself an atheist. I don't mind anybody calling me whatever they want. I'm a doubter, most of all. But I don't think being honest about not understanding how things work in life has to be precisely an explanation about anything. So if someone someone is not able to give you an answer of where we come from, I mean, is that something wrong with that? Someone not knowing where we come from, for example?
I mean, just having pure skepticism about
no skepticism, just not understanding, being honest. I don't know where we come from. I don't know what happens to us when we die. I have never been dead to tell anyone what happens when we die. So if someone asks me, Javier, what happens when we die? I don't know.
Yeah, see, I mean, that's why I wouldn't really call myself a Christian. I don't know which religion is correct and which doctrine would be correct there. But I just I call myself a deist because it just seems so improbable that there would be a universe capable of supporting conscious life. That I can't. There's almost no other explanation for it.
So I don't know if you saw the scenes or slides from the presentation that I made, but the main point is that I think most believers present a problem when they get confused with a belief with a fact. So if a believer says to someone, hey, God is real, like it is a fact, I think the honest way to say what they want to say is that they believe that God is real. And that's where the confusion comes from, because there's nothing wrong with you expressing to someone else what you believe. But when your belief turns into a fact without any proof or evidence, that's where the whole division and conflict comes from.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think at some point, you can't have absolute proof, or proof in an absolute sense, but you can sort of, when you have enough circumstantial evidence, it becomes extremely unlikely that there's an alternative.
But extremely unlikely doesn't prove for God or confirms that the God or whichever God that you think is real is real. For example, when people tell me God is real, I tell them, no, Chulum is real. And they ask me, who's Chulum? And I tell them the creator of the universe. And they tell me, well, you're making that up. I tell them, no, I have proof of that. And when they ask me, what is the proof? I tell them the universe is not able to come up all by itself from nothing. It had to be created by a creator. And that creator is Chulum. You see, so I can do the same thing that whatever, whoever believer in whatever invisible entity is doing. I'm stating my belief as a fact without providing any evidence to anybody or any proof. Nothing of value or that someone can say, oh, Javier, you are absolutely correct. Yes, I confirm, yes, Tulum is real. Or the God of the Bible is real. Or Allah. Or Olodumare. Or Odin. Whichever God, whichever invisible entity.
Yeah, I mean, but you do at some point have to choose how to act, and you do kind of have to believe something at some point. There's, it's hard to be completely neutral on questions like this. It seems like
That's key what you just said. If I find myself in need to believe in something, what's my motivation to believing in something? Because probably I'm in need of an explanation about what happens when we die. I'm starting to get old. This is starting to have more value for me. What happens? I'm starting to get fearful. So the only thing that explains something about what happens when we die and gives me eternal life is God of the Bible. There's nothing else. So I choose to believe. And I'm going to take it farther than that. I'm going to start saying that God is real. Just because I need an explanation and believe in something that gives me some peace and removes some of my anxiety. I don't know if you have seen my other live streams where I talk about how we human beings go from taking information about a God, finding value in that information, and we move from negative field states to positive field state. So if you find yourself in a negative field state because you're starting to question your mortality, and the only thing that offers an explanation is one of these gods, yeah, you're gonna find value in that information. You're gonna attach it to the information of the God, and you're gonna be able to move yourself from a negative field state into a positive field state, without seeing the God, touching it, and without witnessing what happens after we die. Just by the data and finding value in the data, it makes you feel good. That's it. There's nothing else.
I guess I haven't seen your other live streams. I've just been I just found this channel browsing. I thought you were a hard atheist.
No, I'm not. I still believe that there's a possibility that there's something out there. And the reason I have not come to the conclusion that there's no entity or being or something out there is because myself, I can see programming and design in some of the stuff that we do. Like for example, the eye, or some of the programming in something happened to us and we react. That is program. I can see that we come with a bias, with some base programs, and then we have other programs that can be changed just like a computer. So that seems to me that there's something that is programmed and designed. But I don't jump to conclusions, because I could be very well, by accepting, for example, the God of the Bible, I would be accepting someone else's idea of a God, and that will prohibit me or limit me to probably understand something bigger by accepting someone else's idea or understanding of a God, which in my point of view, the God of the Bible really, really sounds very human. Doesn't sound like a real God.
Okay, that sounds more reasonable. That's actually not too far from what I believe, I guess. I do think, that the I kind of go along with C.S. Lewis's argument about the way the universe has an order to it and a structure to it, and that something like that can't just arise out of chaos, and that to me that seems to prove that there is at least a demiurge.
I think when people start saying that there has to be a mind behind creation, behind the universe, and it has to be a person, and it has to be one, yeah, that for me is pushing it too far, because you cannot prove any of the stuff. You can just wish it to be true, or maybe it aligns with your belief in the God of the Bible, for example, or it makes you feel good that you're finding some logical explanation about something that we have no idea how it works. So I don't jump to conclusions, because the moment I jump into a conclusion, I stop growing as a human being. I'm limiting myself. I'm not able to explore and discover anymore. I think if there's a God out there, I want to discover it. I don't want people telling me about it.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of why I have a I've been thinking about going back to church, but it's kind of a hard decision to make, because it's I see Christians arguing about different which Christian denomination is the right one, and the arguments seem to hinge on really like stupid things. Like, was the baptism water, was it a full dunk, or was it a little trickle of water on the forehead, and the difference there will make whether you spend eternity in being tortured or whether you go to heaven. And I don't know, I can't I have a hard time with that part of it. But
Hmm.
I mean,
I know. Go
well,
ahead. Finish your thought.
I was just going to come back to the fact that, like, there's never going to be a satisfying explanation for why, like, you can have a subjective experience and a consciousness arising from just like the ordinary matter that's in your skull, and without a sort of a personal God behind that. I'm having trouble like squaring that circle where that could even be possible.
By what we're starting to witness right now, the capabilities of AI, there's a probability, just to entertain it, that there's probably not only one God, there are two. And probably this is where everything comes from, because there's a male God or a female God or two gods that, got together, did their thing, and boom, creation came to born, was born. So I don't know. Probably there's a society of gods. Probably there's a civilization of gods, and we are just one creation from many gods from many different creations that we're not aware of. We have no way of understanding or capability of understanding what's going on in different dimensions or different universes. I have no idea. So if I come to a conclusion that there's one mind, one God, and it just happens to be the one from the Bible, I think I'm doing an extremely disservice for myself, unless I'm finding emotional value in believing this information. For example, if I'm extremely fearful of dying and believing in this God is going to give me eternal life, and it pacifies me and gives me less anxiety, well, I'm going to believe and just quiet my critical mind. Hey, be quiet because you're not making me feel better. I will believe, but I'm not to that point yet. I wanted to ask you a question. If you go back to church, I know this could sound like a silly question, okay? But what for?
Well, I mean, it's been a long time. It seems like it's very important to a lot of believers. It's kind of um,
What would you
I'm
want to
leaning.
achieve? What would you want to achieve by going back to church? It's not, you don't think that I'm doing a trick question or, gotcha, or nothing like that. It's just having a conversation. What would be your motivation to go back to church?
A big part of it is I have kids, and they should have a community. They should um,
Hmm.
they should have outside influences, basically.
I understand. You know, uh, between you and me, being honest here, that's one of the things that I really appreciate when I was in church, when I was a believer. I mean, the group of people, very nice people. Some a little bit hypocrite, but mostly the going into the parks, very healthy people as far as nobody drinking, smoking, just uh, plain honest fun, going to baseball games together, stuff like that. That was nice. And besides that, I was part of the choir, so it was quite interesting. I missed the community part of the church, at least in my church that I was in Miami. It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the one thing I am kind of concerned about is that you go to a church and it's a lot of old people there, and they
Because
don't have
those
and
are those are the ones that are getting closer to the end, and people start getting worried about their mortality.
yeah, uh, but yeah, I mean, I haven't done it yet, obviously, but I
They
guess if you think if you think there could be a creator behind the universe, but do you think he would have any like moral expectations on people, or
no whatsoever, none,
no?
no. The problem what I see with God's morality, if we're talking about, for example, the God of the Bible, I would not take any morals from any violent gods, especially the one that gets jealous or gets upset and start killing without any remorse. I don't take any morals from what I see as a or recognize as a violent God. I think that God's way of communicating to humanity that he loves them through an act of violence, which was the brutal assassination of Jesus, I don't see as a good way to communicate love to anybody. So I have chosen not to take my morals from this God of the Bible. Besides that, I run the risk of mislabeling things and people. Like when people want to use the labels as good and bad, people can get wrong definitions from some people. I don't know if you have seen some people get called racist. They put the labels and people start judging them without really trying to come up with their own conclusions. That's what happens when you use labels in life. And especially if you're using labels as good and bad from the God of the Bible, yes, you can make a lot of mistakes. People will use these labels to manipulate people. So I don't use the words good or bad in my vocabulary.
Speaker, I just want to jump in real quick. If you have any questions about becoming born again, I can possibly answer some questions you have if you want after. I just want to let you know I'm here.
Oh, okay, maybe, yeah.
Awesome.
I mean, I guess do you believe in good and evil though?
No, I don't. I believe in having knowledge and being ignorant. I think ignorant give us our own hell.
But that would be, I mean, that would be evil though, right? Like unnecessary suffering and things like that are evil, correct? Or you don't?
I don't attack anybody's way of trying to understand reality, but I don't use these labels as evil and goodness in my life because I have tried that before and I see that I can come up to really bad conclusions by using these labels. So my understanding is that by being ignorant, for example, of our humanity and how we operate as human beings, it gets us into troubles all the time. Because as long as we continue to be ignorant about how we operate as human beings, other people that are aware of this information about how we operate, they take advantage of us. And I have made live streams explaining my views on how we operate as human beings. We are like a machine, we are like a humanoid. We take data in our minds, we take data, and that data has no value. We attach value to that data when we see something that makes sense or gives meaning to us. Once we have that data and we attach value, we can create movement in life, and that generates action. So we are able to move from negative field states into positive field states, and that's where the magic happens. We're able to take things that are invisible, like a thought, and bring it into reality by the power of feel. I call it feel because I haven't come up with a better word for this absolutely amazing, incredible energy.
So I guess where I would disagree with that is I do kind of see, I see there are definitely examples of things I would consider evil in the world and things I consider good. And following, when people tend to just follow what feels good, it doesn't. It often ends up in a pretty dark place.
When you said feel good.
Yeah, like if you just kind of, if people just generally just do whatever feels good in the moment to them, it can go really badly, right? Would you agree
Mm,
with that?
yeah, but if you believe in an invisible entity, you're doing the exact same thing.
Well, I mean, I would say, I believe in a like a moral dimension to the universe. Like if I go out and just do whatever I want to do in the moment and what feels good in the next 10 minutes, I could like ruin my life, and my family would be ruined, and all kinds of bad things would happen. And it's the fact that I can just say that some things are good and some things are bad, um it just admits of a moral dimension to the universe.
So how are monkeys?
Monkeys.
Yeah, why, for example, let's say that a human being doesn't go killing around because of God, right? Is that what you're trying to say? Because God's morality is imprinted in us?
I mean, it feels like almost like a feature of the universe. If you um the do what thou will be the whole of the law is just chaos, and it leads to, in the long term, it ends up being a disaster, basically. um
Mm,
Monkeys, even like chimpanzees, they have a social order, they have war, they do, I don't think they've thought about it or articulated it, but they seem to have a sense of right and wrong.
mm,
Very
yeah,
primitive, I mean, very primitive, but there is a but certain animals do have like a culture to them.
yeah. I think that part I don't agree, because I think if you live in a society like the one you're living right now, it's gonna be very clear to you what's differentiated as being good and evil. But if you live in a society, let's say, I don't know, in some other country, very rural, and the rule in that country is like, man, you have to defend your family by killing other people that want to take your family away and take your stuff. And killing is very normal. They don't see it as something evil or good. They call it the way of life. It's just something that we do. And I've done a few live streams explaining this, that how we process information and how we assign value to things. Um, One thing that you said that is like imprinted in us, I don't know if you use that word, that we do something like we know internally that we're supposed to be doing good. The way I see it is that there's something that is programmed in us to
Well,
keep us.
I don't think it's no, I don't think it's our conscience is our the Jiminy Cricket like voice in our head that tells us right from wrong. I think that's cultivated from culture. I don't think that I think you could raise a child to have an absolutely terrible sense of right and wrong.
No, but
But
I thought you said that it came from God, like it's
no,
imprinted in it.
I think the world just the logic of we live in a world governed by the laws of scarcity, and we're conscious, and we have as the Bible would say, knowledge. We ate of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and so we know that we that if you act in a certain way, it leads to disaster, and if you act on this very narrow path, you can have a better life, and the life of everyone around you is better too.
I think that we as human beings, we come with a reprogram. The body is trying to do everything it can to keep you alive for a reason, for a purpose. And the order, in a way, the body is able to do that, or the program is able to do that, is by keeping you in an unbalance on the negative scale of the field state, move you, I don't know, 1% into the negative field state. So you're always searching to move back to neutrality. or moving to a positive field states. And that's made for a purpose because that creates motion. And that's why when you stay looking at a wall for hours, you start going crazy because your body's yelling at you, hey, we gotta move. You're supposed to be moving. And that's how I think we have something imprinted in us or program that we're supposed to keep ourselves alive. So that's how you know you're not supposed to be killing people. But this program can be changed. But these programs come when we're born. I don't know why. I don't know what's behind it, but I can see it in every single human being. And that's how we determine that something is like, for example, good and you're not supposed to be killing people. I think you very fast learn that if you start killing people for no reason, you're going to end up dead. And probably you don't want that.
I mean, I agree that there's an inherent human nature. I don't think we're blank slates at all. Like, yeah, you feel hunger and that motivates you to go find food, and a bunch of other feelings that you have, and in the short term, yeah, you kind of do have to like satisfy some of those feelings, but in the long term, there's definitely like a higher order um morality that I can that just eating when you're hungry doesn't quite satisfy. Like, why the a person who tries to make a like that's kind of like what like a low level criminal does. They feel hungry, they go steal a loaf of bread, and that's a really terrible, that's generally considered immoral in pretty much every culture, but it's also just a really poor long-term strategy, and it's also, it doesn't work out so well for anybody else in the society either, right?
Yeah. Can you come up with an example or scenario where you think is God's moral in action in a scenario or something?
God's moral inaction.
In an action of a human being, for example, like not killing someone, do you think that comes from God's morals?
Well, I mean, that would be like a commandment from God in Christian religion.
So in my case, I don't go killing people around, and I don't believe in the God. What do you think is going on?
I think you were raised in a culture that discourages that strongly.
Hmm. Okay, okay, I got you.
That culture is influenced by the Bible and so on.
Mm, okay, yeah, I agree with what you're saying. I think it's something that is programmed in us because of society. I think if we start living as a baby and a kid in a society that it's normal to kill other people because they're always in war, I'm not gonna see anything wrong with killing other people.
Right. I mean, and you see that in like pagan cultures. It was murder was not a big deal for many different cultures, and they never really were able to build empires or establish any kind of proper civilization. Partly because like that the universe just does not reward that sort of thing.
Mm, and when you say that universe doesn't
In the
reward
short
that,
term, in the short term, sometimes it does, but in the long term,
yeah,
it's always interesting to me that the pagans are. So you'll listen to pagans, and they have their critiques of Christianity, and their critique is basically that Christians are soft, and they're peaceful, and pagans are, they value strength and vitality, and yet in an age of sword, where sword fights settled wars,
who's a pagan for you?
the pagans lost, right? So
Who's a pagan?
who's a pagan?
Yeah, for you, who's a pagan?
Oh, like the Vikings, for example.
No, no, a pagan for you is not like an atheist or something like that.
Oh no, a pagan is somebody who believes in like the ancient pre-Christian religions. Like
Mm,
Vikings, they worshipped Odin and various other like forest spirits and things like that.
yeah. I still agree with some of that what you just said right there, because I think that it makes a lot of people weak when they start praying, while the people that are doing stuff against other people, they're taking action.
Yeah, and I mean that's one of my biggest stumbling blocks with is actually the pagan criticism of it's in the Sermon on the Mount too. If a man he tries to take your shirt, give him your coat as well, that sort of thing. It seems like almost insane to me, but it's literally the Sermon on the Mount, and you can't. There's no more direct injunction than that, really, almost.
You know, I define this as my own experience, that someone that believes in the possibility of a God, you're gonna have a conflict internally with your honesty. Some of the stuff is not gonna make sense. You're gonna try to shut it down for your own emotional rewards from believing, but the conflict is always there. I think all the years as I was a believer, my internal conflict never really went away. Every time I would read something or look at something related to God, that I'm like, wait a sec. My honesty was fighting with my belief, and I would shut down my honesty. I'm like, man, be quiet. God is looking at me. God is watching my doubts, and He's not gonna be very happy. So I would shut down my questions internally. But I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, there's some things you read in the Bible and you think, well, yeah, I should be doing that, and I like it's hard not to do certain things, and I won't say what those are, but probably it's probably right that you shouldn't, and you are kind of people do fall short of their own standards all the time, but there are just this handful of things that like that Sermon on the Mount line. I can't square that with reality, and but
That's funny. I'm sorry. You're scratching your head over that one. Happens to many, many believers, man. Watch out. It can break your faith. Speaker to animals. You said that your user on YouTube was what was it?
Baloo 555.
Balu. Balu, it's gonna be 3 hours in 3 minutes. I'm gonna finish the live stream. I thank you so much, man. This was a very interesting conversation. Thank you so much for calling in. Hopefully, it's not the last time you called. And welcome to the live stream, to the chat, to the channel. We're gonna be back on Monday and next week after some comments from other viewers. I'm thinking about doing a live stream talking about politics. I don't know how's that gonna go. But there are a lot of people with many opinions about that. So I know in my channel, Speaker to Animals, I try to speak about things that relate to health, relate to money, and relate to relationships. 3 aspects of life that I think are of most importance for humanity. So I'm trying to come up with topics that relate to those 3 main categories of life. So thank you so much, Speaker to Animals, for that conversation.
Yeah, thanks for chatting with me. I'll try to, if I'm around, I'll try to tune in for the next one.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
Bye. All right, man. That was Balu on YouTube. That was an interesting conversation. Very respectful guy. Thank you so much. Balu, Speaker to Animals. Thank you for calling, and thank you for being respectful. I enjoyed that conversation. Gonna be 2 more minutes until we shut down this live stream. I apologize if I've not been looking at the chat, but when I'm talking to someone on the Discord voice, I try not to look at the chats because I cannot concentrate doing both things. Sometimes I try to peek at the chats. You really want to ask me something while I'm talking to someone else, or you want me to ask the caller a question, you can, ask your question and try to put my username on your message or your question so I can ask the caller for your question. Anyways, looking real quick through some of these messages. I know you guys having your own conversations and own debates. Body God, never seen you around here. Welcome. If you found something of value in this channel, you're welcome to subscribe to the channel. Oh, Dagobah Dave, thank you for coming to the live stream. Which I could read all these messages, but we're gonna shut down the live stream here in a minute. I don't know if Brent A. Oh yeah, Brent A is still here. Brent A, Bert Russell, Diva. Definitely, we gotta make a live stream next week about politics, man. That's gonna be interesting. We're gonna talk about the left and the right. Brent A, we're gonna talk about Trump. Let's talk about Republicans. Let's talk about Democrats. Let's talk about communism. Let's talk about socialism. It's not only about gods and beliefs. We can talk about other topics too. Also, I mentioned that I would like to also touch the topic of abortion and one really sensitive topic, LGBT also. So, and regarding to this live stream, the topic, what causes division between atheists and believers in God? One observation for whoever believes in a God, please try to understand, do your best to understand the difference between a belief and a fact. These are two different things. If you tell me, Javier, I believe that the God of the Bible is real, I will tell you, thank you for sharing your belief. I respect your belief. I'm okay with it. The moment you cross the line and you tell me, Javier, God is real, everything comes crashing down, because I'm going to tell you, and you prove it, and you demonstrate the God. Can you point to the God? Maybe you're lying, maybe you're doing it on purpose, maybe you're doing it unconsciously, maybe you're doing it naively. And we get into discussions and debates just because you chose to express your feeling as a fact and not as a feeling. I think that that's where the whole conversation comes crashing down. Don't confuse beliefs with facts. You believe that the God of the Bible is real or Allah is real is different from saying God is real. Huge difference. All right, guys, everybody, thank you so much. Brent A, TP Seeker, Professor Hissel out of Babylon. Thank you so much, of course, to Skeptic Philosophy, Robert, Dagobah Dave. Thank you for stopping by. You guys have a great weekend. Bert Russell, we have this conversation pending. Politics, God. Thank you for stopping by also to this live stream so much. Appreciate you, everybody. I have taken of your precious time to engage in these important conversations about life, about God, about politics, about relationships, important topics. The music stops, so that's 3 hours. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night and have an awesome weekend. We'll be back Monday nights.